Hi, and welcome to Voiceitt Getting Started Guide by Superyou Tech, the Australian supplier for Voiceitt. In this video, I'll walk you through everything you need to know to get started. Whether you're using Voiceitt yourself, supporting a family member, or working as a therapist, this guide will help you to set up your account, train Voiceitt to recognise your speech, and start using its main features. Superyou Tech offers a free 60-day Voiceitt trial for people in Australia. There's no cost to trial the software and no obligation to continue afterwards. To get started, visit superyoutech.au and open the Voiceitt page. From there, select Free 60-Day Trial. You'll be asked to complete a short online form to create your account. When choosing your email address, I recommend using one that will stay connected to the Voiceitt user over time. This might be the user's own email address, or it could be the email address of a parent, partner, or support person who helps manage their technology. After you've entered your details, select Create Account. Voiceitt will then ask a few questions about the person who'll be using the software. These include things like age, gender, diagnosis, and your communication experience. These questions help personalise your Voiceitt experience. They're also used to improve Voiceitt over time, so it's worth answering them as accurately as you can. You'll also be asked for some additional information, such as contact phone number and whether you're exploring using Voiceitt for yourself, supporting someone else, or using it in a professional role. Once you've completed those questions, your account is ready. Voiceitt is browser-based, so there's nothing to install. You can access it from any computer, tablet, or mobile device that has a web browser, an internet connection, and a microphone. To log in, open your browser and go to web.voiceitt.com. After signing in, you'll arrive at the main Voiceitt dashboard. The first and most important step is teaching Voiceitt to recognise your speech. The effectiveness of Voiceitt depends on this step. The better your training recordings are, the better Voiceitt will understand your speech when you use speak mode or dictate mode later on. When you first log in, Voiceitt will prompt you to begin voice training. You'll see that the first goal is to record 50 phrases. It's important to know that 50 phrases is the minimum required to unlock Voiceitt's features. It's not the point where training is finished. Think of those first 50 phrases as giving Voiceitt its first introduction to your voice. For many people, accuracy will continue to improve as they record more phrases over time. Don't be discouraged if Voiceitt doesn't recognise everything perfectly after the first 50 recordings. That's completely normal. The more quality recordings you provide, the more information Voiceitt has to learn the unique characteristics of your speech. Before we start recording, Voiceitt will display a few recommendations to help you get the best results. Firstly, you'll need to allow your web browser to access your microphone. Without microphone access, Voiceitt can't hear your recordings. Next, try to speak naturally. There's no need to slow down dramatically, overpronounce words, or try to sound like someone else. Voiceitt is learning how you normally speak, so the more natural your speech is, the better. It's also worth finding a quiet place to record if you can. Reducing background noise helps Voiceitt capture clearer recordings and generally leads to better accuracy. Now let's look at the recording screen. Each recording consists of a short phrase displayed on the screen. If reading is difficult, or you simply want to hear how the phrase is spoken, select the Listen button. Voiceitt will read the phrase aloud, and you can simply repeat what you hear. When you're ready, select Tap to record. Depending on your browser, you may be asked to allow microphone access the first time you record. If that happens, simply press Allow. Read the phrase in your natural voice. When you finish speaking, Voiceitt will stop recording automatically. If you prefer, you can also stop the recording yourself by selecting the Record button again. Before submitting your recording, you have a chance to listen back. This is a useful habit to get into, especially when you're learning. Listen for the things like background noise, microphone quality, or whether you accidentally missed or changed a word. If you're happy with the recording, select Submit. If not, simply choose Re-record and try again. After you submit the phrase, Voiceitt will automatically move on to the next one and update your progress. One feature I really like is that training is completely self-paced. You don't have to finish all 50 phrases in one sitting. You might record 5 phrases while you're having your morning coffee, another 10 later in the day, and a few more tomorrow. Voiceitt remembers exactly where you left off, so you can stop at any time and come back whenever you're ready. Sometimes you'll come across a phrase that's difficult to say or doesn't feel natural for you. That's perfectly okay. Simply select Next to skip that phrase. Skipping a phrase doesn't reduce the number of recordings you'll complete. Voiceitt simply replace it with another phrase from its library. The goal isn't to record every phrase. The goal is to collect high-quality recordings that accurately represent your everyday speech. Once you've completed your first 50 phrases, Voiceitt unlocks all of its communication features. As you continue recording beyond that point, Voiceitt will periodically update your voice profile, improving its understanding of your speech over time. Voiceitt will do a big update of your voice profile at the 50 phrase mark, 100 phrase mark, then 200, 300, and so on. As you begin recording phrases, you may find that some are easier to say than others. Voiceitt includes several different phrase libraries, so you can choose the one that best suits your communication. By default, you'll start with the standard phrases that are around 4 to 6 words long. For many people, these work well and provide Voiceitt with plenty of information to learn from. However, if longer phrases are difficult to say consistently, or you find that you're often running out of time before finishing a phrase, it's worth changing to a different phrase library. To do this, select Change Phrases. Here you'll see several options. Medium phrases contain shorter sentences of around 2 to 4 words. Short phrases are just 1 to 2 words long. There's also a simpler language phrase library, which uses easier vocabulary and shorter words. This is the default option for children, but can also be changed for anyone with literacy difficulties or who finds the default phrases too complex. The most important thing is choosing the phrase set that allows you to produce your clearest, most natural speech. It's better to record shorter phrases accurately than longer phrases that are rushed or inconsistent. One thing to keep in mind is that shorter phrases contain less speech for Voiceitt to learn from. That simply means you may need to record more phrases overall to achieve the same level of accuracy. That's completely normal and isn't something to worry about. If you're unsure which phrase library to use, start with the default option. If it feels too difficult, switch to a shorter or simpler phrase set. You can change between them at any time. Now let's look at one of my favourite features, personal vocabulary. Personal vocabulary allows you to create your own custom training phrases. Instead of recording only the phrases provided by Voiceitt, you can also record words and sentences that are meaningful in your everyday life. This is especially helpful for names of family members, friends, support workers, schools, workplaces, medications, hobbies, or any other words that Voiceitt may not otherwise encounter during standard training. To open personal vocabulary, you can either select Record Personal Vocabulary from the Record menu, or access it through the Change Phrases menu. To add a new phrase, select Add Personal Phrase. Type the word or sentence you'd like to record. You can choose to record it straight away, or continue adding more phrases before recording them later. If you're working with a family member, therapist, or support worker, it can be helpful for them to spend a few minutes adding lots of useful phrases at once. Then when you're ready, you can simply work through the list and record each one. Recording a personal phrase works exactly the same way as standard training. You'll see the phrase on the screen. If needed, you can listen to it first. When you're ready, select Tap to record record the phrase naturally, then either submit it or re-record it if needed. Over time, adding personal vocabulary can make a real difference because you're teaching Voiceitt the words you'll actually use every day. Let's have a look at another feature that can make communication quicker: shortcut phrases. Shortcut phrases is a feature that unlocks once you have completed the minimum 50 phrases. Shortcut phrases allows you to say a short phrase and then have Voiceitt produce a longer message. This can be helpful for messages that you say regularly, especially when you want to reduce the effort required to communicate. For example, you might create a shortcut where you say coffee order, which produces your full coffee order. Or you might create a shortcut for a greeting, an introduction, a common request, or for information you regularly share with other people. Shortcut phrases can also be useful for preparing for situations where you already know what you want to say. For example, you could create shortcuts for a medical appointment, a presentation, a meeting, or a conversation where you want to share specific information. The important thing is that you remain in control of when that message is used. Voiceitt won't automatically speak your shortcut phrase. You choose when to activate it. To create a shortcut phrase, open the Shortcut Phrases section. You'll see two fields. The first field is the phrase that you will say, which is your shortcut. The second field is a longer message you want Voiceitt to produce. For example, I might set up a shortcut where I say, "What's up?" And Voiceitt produces, "What have you been up to lately?" Once you save the shortcut, it will appear in your list and be ready to use. Shortcut phrases can be particularly useful when you're first getting started with Voiceitt. Over time, as your voice profile improves and your accuracy increases, you may find you rely less on shortcuts. However, many people continue using them because they make communication faster and more predictable. Next, we'll look at the settings menu and the ways you can personalize how Voiceitt looks, sounds, and works for you. Voiceitt includes a range of settings that allow you to personalize your experience. To access these options, select the Menu button and then choose Settings. Let's look at some of the most useful options. The first setting you may want to personalize is the Voiceitt voice it uses to speak your messages aloud. Voiceitt includes a range of voices, including adult male and female voices, Australian English, and a range of other English accents. You can select the voice that feels most comfortable or best represents your communication style. To preview a voice, select the speaker icon next to the voice name. You can also adjust the playback speed. Some people prefer a slower voice because it gives listeners more time to process the message, while others prefer a faster speed for more efficient communication. You can adjust this at any time. Another useful feature is the silence timeout. This setting is used in speak mode and controls how long Voiceitt waits after you finish speaking before it plays your message aloud. For example, if you naturally pause while speaking, you may want to increase the silence timeout so that Voiceitt doesn't stop listening too quickly. If you prefer a faster response, you may want to reduce the time. You can adjust this setting between 0.5 seconds and 3 seconds. A good starting point is to leave it on the default setting and adjust it if you notice that Voiceitt is talking before you finish your message. In the audio section, you can manage your microphone and audio options. This is where you can check or change the microphone being used. If you're using an external microphone, headset, or Bluetooth device, this is where you can make sure that Voiceitt is connected to the correct equipment. Using a good quality microphone can make a significant difference to the speech recognition accuracy, especially in environments with background noise. The Extra Options section includes additional features that you can turn on or off depending on your preferences. One option is profanity filtering. This is turned off by default. If you would like Voiceitt to include swear words when you speak them, you can enable this option. Another option is flip text. This can be useful when using Voiceitt on a phone or tablet during face-to-face communication. When enabled, the text can appear upside down on your screen, so it is easier for the person sitting opposite you to read. You can also choose whether words are highlighted as you speak. Voiceitt uses streaming mode in speak mode, which means that words appear on the screen as you're talking. If you prefer Voiceitt to wait until you've finished speaking before displaying the full message, you can adjust this setting. The menu section also includes some other helpful information. You can view your subscription details, access frequently asked questions, and find information about integrations. These integrations include options such as using Voiceitt for captioning in platforms like Microsoft Teams or Zoom, or using the Voiceitt Chrome extension to dictate directly into a Chrome browser. These features can be explored as you become more comfortable with Voiceitt. For now, the key setting is to focus on choosing the voice that you like, adjusting the playback speed, and making sure that your microphone is working well. Next, we'll look at the two main ways you can use Voiceitt day to day: speak mode and dictate mode. Speak mode is designed for face-to-face communication. Dictate mode is designed for writing. Let's start with speak mode. Speak mode allows you to use your voice to create spoken messages that can be played aloud using your selected Voiceitt voice. This can support conversations with family, friends, support workers, healthcare professionals, teachers, or anyone else you communicate with. To use speak mode, select Click to speak. Voiceitt will begin listening. Say your message naturally and then pause. Voiceitt will recognise your speech and play the message aloud using your chosen voice. The words will also appear on the screen, which can be helpful if someone would prefer to read your message instead of listening. There is also a play button if you need to repeat the message aloud. Remember, speak mode is designed to support natural communication. You don't need to speak differently or try to sound perfect. The more you use Voiceitt and continue training, the better it will understand your speech. Voiceitt also includes several ways to control speak mode without needing to click directly on the screen. You can use keyboard shortcuts, switches, adapted keyboards, or other assistive technology solutions to access different buttons. These options can be particularly useful for people who use alternate access methods or who are accessing Voiceitt alongside an AAC system. If you're working with an OT or speech pathologist, they can help explore which access method works best for you. Dictate mode is designed to support writing. Instead of converting your speech into spoken communication, Voiceitt converts your speech into text. This can be used for writing emails, completing schoolwork, creating reports, creative writing, or any other situations where you would normally use a keyboard. To use dictate mode, select Click to dictate. Voiceitt will begin listening and continue listening until you select Stop. This allows you to speak longer sections of text without needing to restart after each sentence. What you say will be converted into text on the screen, which you can then edit, copy, share, or save depending on what you need. Dictate mode also includes voice controls that allow you to edit your text using your voice. These controls can be turned on or off depending on your preference. To see the available commands, open the Voice Controls section by tapping on the words Voice Controls. Examples include undo to remove the last action, remove last word to delete the last word you dictated, or new line to move onto a new line. Voiceitt also supports text formatting commands. For example, you can say punctuation commands aloud if you want to add punctuation to your writing. Voiceitt won't automatically add punctuation, so you will need to say commands such as full stop, comma, or other formatting options if you want to put this into your text. You can also use voice commands for numbers, measurements, and other common formats. We've now covered the main steps to getting started with Voiceitt. If you haven't already, create your Voiceitt account. The most important thing you can do early on is to complete your voice training. Start recording phrases at a pace that works for you. Remember, training does not need to happen all at once. A few minutes of recording each day can add up over time. If accuracy isn't where you'd like it to be straight away, continue adding more recordings. Voiceitt learns from the examples you provide, and your voice profile will continue to improve as you train. If you still have questions after watching this walkthrough, the Superyou Tech team is available to provide further support. We can help you with more specific questions about your setup, access methods, and how Voiceitt can best support your communication. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about Voiceitt. We hope this guide helps you to get started and gives you the confidence to explore how Voiceitt can support your communication.